On this episode of the show, I have with me Afrouz Ansaripour. She is the Director of Data Science at Walmart, and we're going to be talking about, well, having customer data, having lots of customer data, some of the opportunities to leverage that data, and where are we with exploring Gen AI and that customer data, and a whole host of other things. I just hope we have enough time. We have a lot to get through, but Afrouz, thanks for taking the time.
For sure, of course. It's a pleasure to meet you, Amir, and it's great to be on your podcast. Really looking forward to our conversation.
Absolutely. All right. Before we start, obviously, you work at Walmart. You're the director of data science. I guess, what area are you focused on before we dive in?
For sure. So I'm currently focusing on customer analytics and customer intelligence tools at Walmart, but across different companies, Walt Disney, Ford Motor Company, McDonald's, and Walmart, I've been focusing on doing data science and AI models for customer intelligence, customer experience, supply chain, and operations.
Absolutely. I mean, you definitely understand the customer and data, so this will be a good one. Hey, in this episode, that it does follow that we're going to be talking about customer data, and I guess maybe a starting off point. A lot of companies have lots of customer data, and some of this data is from internal. Some of it's acquired. Some of it's because companies have merged. We have a lot of customer data. I mean, companies that you've worked for, all of them have massive amounts of data. I guess when we look at that, that is both a positive, and then sometimes when you have a lot of data, that's a negative. Maybe help us understand both those viewpoints.
For sure. So basically, nowadays, the way that we're using customer data evolved a lot. As you said, we have a lot of customer data, and the customer data is really enriched now. We are actually going from like having only reports and past historical transactional data about what customer bought or what they purchased to all types of maybe predicting the behavior, intent, and mission, that why they are with us, why they like our service, why they like our product and purchase from us. Um, I would say with the new technologies that we have, especially cloud technologies, processing millions of rows and signals in real time is not an issue anymore. So these capabilities are helping us to unlock a lot of capabilities that we need for our customer. The advantage of having a lot of data is we can understand our customers better. So here we are not trying to just say that our customers are doing this and that, or basically purchasing these types of items with us, but we are trying to understand the intent and the psychological trigger and the advantage that you're seeing in our service, items, and brands, and how we can help them to find those services or items better or faster. Some of the examples or opportunity that we see when we have a lot of data is we can do more personalization or recommendations. When you have a rich data set for customers, or even you know about your customers more and know about more customers, you can do hyper personalized recommendations and exactly target customers with something that they need. Also, you can do contextual nudges, which means that you don't need to only recommend items or brands, but you can talk to them in their own language because this is what customers prefer. You can target them at the right time so they don't get frustrated and with the right message. You can also do more dynamic. So if you have a lot of data which is coming real time, you can send customers relevant items that they need and then stop sending it next week when it's not relevant anymore. Maybe I'm purchasing for my birthday this week and next week is not my birthday anymore. So I want my content to be dynamic. And also it is automated and it's intelligence. So basically with more data, we are trying to have a holistic view, 360 view about the customers, understand what they are doing and not pushing products to them, but helping them to be happier with the product they select. Also, there, as you said, there are challenges when you have a lot of data because there's always noise and randomness in the data. So when you get the data, the first thing data science teams do, they go to the data, they see what they can get out of it. There are always outliers. They are always challenging. Data is never clean. And what we usually say is garbage in, garbage out. If you don't have a good data, you can't get a good insight and your results will be bad. With more and more data, I think this cleaning processes and making sure that the data is helpful for machine learning and AI model is more challenging now. It needs more processes and considerations. But at the same time, with the new technologies, with Gen AI, with cloud technologies, everything is faster now. So even those challenges are easier to handle these days.
Absolutely. You know, you mentioned something really interesting about trying to, I guess, show value to the customer and not just push sales. I think up to now, we've seen data used a lot to drive sales, right? We feel that. I think everybody who's ever shopped, who's had a cookie track them, who's seen things show up as these are the items you want, we see and feel that. And I think it's almost becoming difficult for customer facing companies to identify value. And I think there's a lot of opportunities. I think there's tons of opportunities to show that value. I guess when we are looking at customer data and to kind of dive into how do you show that value? What are those opportunities? You mentioned some nudges, but outside of that, if we're a consumer and you have all this information, not you particularly, but if a company has all this information about us and we don't want just to be sold, what are some of those other things, other benefits that we can provide to the customer so they don't feel like it's just a part of the sale, but it's actually, hey, this is value that the company has because we have this data on you or about you.
Yes, definitely. So yes, one of the things that you mentioned is um, definitely, especially if you see that there are a lot of companies that they are onboarding their chief customer analytics or chief customer data. Basically, what this teams and functions wants to do is all customer experience and customer satisfaction. Everyone is not moving, but bringing customer experience with customer satisfaction to their journey. They want to look at customer journey and different milestones that customer is at to make sure what is the not only items or purchases or services, but what is it that the customer need at that moment so they can make that journey smooth, reliable and accurate and also pleasant for that customers. So the things that we said about personalization and sending recommendations to customer, talking to them in their language is part of that goal. But also there are a lot of other things that we can do with those customer data. For example, with the generative AI and LLMs that we have right now, we can interpret unstructured data like reviews, chats, calls that we get from call center, open-ended survey responses. So if you come to a store and then you need something and we recommend you something, after that you don't like it or you like it, you communicate with us. With language models, we can communicate with you back. The way that we do it is we can extract, companies try to understand if you're happy, what is your emotion in different milestones of your journey. And the traditional models couldn't solve those problems, but now with LLM and generative AI, it's faster and more agile. So we help with automated feature generation, dynamic segmentation, summarizing behavioral pattern, and especially trying to see if you are happy in part of your process or if you are not happy in part of your process. We want companies want to make it up for you. They want to do something for you in your next step, so you're happy with that. So it's not only something that we want to communicate with customers, but we also want to understand what they are communicating to us and how we can make this experience a little better for them.
Absolutely. I love that. I guess when we're talking about any part of data right now, obviously generative technologies are as a baseline discussion component. When we're looking at customer data specifically, and we think about Gen AI and these LLMs that are available, how do you expand? How do you how do you improve upon the customer data you have? What are the opportunities that you can actually start focusing on with some of these advanced technologies that are out?
There are definitely a lot of opportunities that we can do here. Generative AI was the biggest shift in the last couple of years. It's the rise of large language model or LLMs. They fundamentally changed the way how teams and especially data team work, act, interpret the data, act on customer data. The way that we're changing or reshaping the future of data is instead of only building dashboards or running complex SQL codes or Python codes and analytics, everyone can go and ask this natural language questions and instantly receive their answers. So I give you an example. So let's think about in the past, everything, all the tools, all the data science tool will go to a UI, a user interface that customers can go and interact with them. I might go there, but I might not find what I need. So I have to look, and if I don't like it, if I don't find it, I'll go back to my engineer and ask them, can you build this specific feature for me? But right now, most of the tools and data science products, they have a chatbot or they have an interactive layer that you can ask questions, not only to find something that you expect, but also to find explanation for something that you are saying. So I would say that there are two important things that this generative AI is doing for us. One of them is faster insight generation. So as I said, those complex UIs or tools can be now available via a chatbot or a natural language layer on top of that. Then you can uncover what you need in a minute, and everything is automated, conversational. The other thing that it's bringing for us is that explainability layer. For many years that I've worked with different companies, a lot of people reached out to me and then they said, we know that this is the result coming out of a platform, but I don't understand why. I still don't understand my customer. Now with generative AI, they can ask their question and look at that tool like something that they understand, not a black box. It's not a black box for them. So it's bringing a richer understanding about our customers. It is also bringing that explainability layer on top of that. And also, one important thing is it can go to all the data that we have from internet and web, like ChatGPT, how it goes and search on the web. It can also do that and then show us the trends that we might not even know about it. If you ask Afruz, what are the trends? I might know like 100 of them, but I might not know another 50 that exist. But generative AI, all the AI tools now, they can go and capture trends that you might not see as a human being and bring that to your data set so you can respond to your customers' need in a better and faster way.
Absolutely, I love that. I guess one question with that. So, I guess depending on how you view technologies that are supposed to be helping us. I mean, we all have those devices in our homes that, and our mobile devices. Everyone went through a period of time worrying about what they hear, what they listen, our privacy, and then all of a sudden now with consumer-facing LLMs, people are just typing in everything under the sun. They don't even care or even bother to ask if this stuff's being recorded, if it's being kept. They're just working with it because they see it has so much value. When you kind of focus in on this privacy component, and I think it's interesting. I think we're very sensitive to privacy as consumers, but then there's tools, and I've talked to people that I know people that tell, let's say, ChatGPT their life story. They know things that probably other humans have never heard, and they're assuming privacy is like as though they're talking to a friend, like they're having this conversation. When we think about this kind of privacy, what it looks like when you're a consumer tech company, and then when you're deriving personal value, there's a difference in how we as people view it. When it comes to companies and the use of advanced technologies and privacy in general, I guess, what are your thoughts there?
That's a very good question, Amir. I think that's one of the main questions that people usually ask when they see someone is in AI. So I would be happy to answer that. I'm not working as part of privacy teams or governance team. So the point of view that I'm giving you is as a consumer of data. So I want to mention that first thing for most of the companies, and I would say probably all of the companies, is privacy is really foundational. And then they are prioritizing trust by building very transparent, ethical data practices, including the process that customers are going through. They want to make sure that the trust between them and customer are much more important and valuable than using the data if they need to use that data. So there are a lot of things that companies do. There are big teams of privacy and governance and legal that make sure to check the compliance, they check the regulation, and then they put together a process for customer that to get their consent, clear consent and opt-in before even using their data. So we want to ask customers if they let us look at their data and help them with their next step. And if a customer doesn't want that, then we would never use that data. There are also very strong governance and data quality controls. Even if we have the data, we want to make sure that the quality is high. We are not using the wrong data, and we are not using the data in a wrong way. There are also a lot of governance efforts that strict access. We have access management, role-based permission. So not all the teams see everything. They only need something that you need. It's always anonymous. You never see if Afruz is doing this or Amir is doing it. All the customers are customers for us. It's anonymous, and most of the analysis that are done in companies, they are aggregated level. We really make sure that the privacy is there. So basically, there are ongoing audits to ensure compliance with evolving regulation, because with generative AI and everything, the regulation is changing. So every day, every minute, the legal team is making sure that everything is clear and transparent. And also very interesting, we deal also with unbiased analysis too. So we make sure that when we do an analysis, all types of segments are represented in our analysis, so we are fair when the results come out. So companies are investing in a lot of privacy technologies that exist today. The principle that they are following is simple. As a summary, personalization should never come at the expense of customer trust. And everyone is following that. Strong privacy practices aren't just a legal requirement to them. It's a critical part of also customer experience. So with a lot of privacy practices that are going on across all companies, I think they're prioritizing customer trust on top of everything else that they're doing.
Absolutely, I love that. That's a great way of articulating it. And I guess when we're looking at the consumer and we're looking at this, you kind of touched on it. We still live in this online offline world, right? It's still this mix, and we have different views of data. We have different points of data collection that we're not even sometimes aware of. I think when you kind of look at the opportunity, I guess you get to play with all this customer data. When you look at the opportunity and you kind of look at what we've seen delivered and what will be delivered, is the experience going to start becoming more seamless to the end user, to the consumer, of how this data is being used in the future? I mean, I'm sure right now, but just as the technologies keep enhancing.
Yes, it is. That's a beautiful question, and it's very important because right now a lot of platforms, a lot of small businesses and large businesses, they are moving to digital. They think like digital is easier for people, so there are a lot of data on digital platforms, but still, there are a lot of times that you go to a store, you purchase something, you go somewhere and get the service in person. In customer analytics, usually blend of digital and offline and third-party signals being used. We want to have a 360-degree view of the customer. On the digital side, people purchase items, they browse different services, they search maybe, but when they go to the store, also they do other behaviors. They might be part of the loyalty program for that company. There are also some returns behavior. So if you want to understand what customer needs and provide that need, the power comes from stitching this data together. A customer who's online, browsing online, or purchasing online, but also purchasing in a store shouldn't be treated as two different people. We need to reflect the full journey for the customer. So the milestone that I said throughout the journey, we can do whatever customer need. When the signals are integrated, which is now with all the technologies that we have and with advanced data science and machine learning models that we have, it is pretty possible to stitch and integrate those signals. We have a richer understanding about the shopping mission, life moments that a customer might have, unmet needs, and the trigger that drive engagement for the customer. So it's less about digital or offline, but to me, it's more about connecting both of this to see few insight that would otherwise be invisible. And I think most of the customer analytics are moving that way, and the results are sometimes a surprise of like how much you can provide for your customer when you see their whole journey.
Absolutely. I guess before I let you go, it may be a curiosity because the field of data analytics, it's gotten so much more complicated. I think as we're talking all these tools require a lot more development, a lot more, you know, development know-how. It's not as simple to deploy some of these solutions. When you're looking at the teams that are tasked with delivering these solutions, and you're kind of looking at the various skills. You got to be an expert Python now. You need to know some data science modeling. I mean, there's so many different things. Like when you're looking at the teams that are tasked for delivering these robust solutions, are these teams? I guess the question here is: are these teams having to consistently upskill and kind of push their own limits? Because it seems like there's a new breakthrough on an LLM or a new breakthrough on something every other day to kind of have to think about how it helps you deliver on this customer data.
Awesome. My favorite question because I'm also in that process. So yes, when people wanted to have or were asking about what is skills or talent need for data science, if it was 5 years ago or 6 years ago, it was all about, yes, you have to have statistical and analytics foundation. You have to know machine learning methodologies, data engineering basis, programming skills, coding, Python, SQL, visualization, all of those things. We still need those expertise. So even with generative AI and automated tools, I believe that AI experts and data scientists need to understand what is going on inside those tools so they can use it, they can improve it, or they might want to build something similar. But also, what you said, I want to bring up one point. Just imagine that someone has been working with a tool and now they say you have to get rid of it and then use this one, which is much more faster, automated. It's a machine. You were just walking somewhere your whole life. Now there is a machine and you have to learn it. There are new things to learn about it. These technologies are advanced. So people need to learn. But also, I believe that we have to give up on some of the things that we were doing manually, which might seem an easy job, but it is not because it's like your baby. You've been doing it the whole life. Now you have to forget about those and adopt yourself to those changes. In AI world, adoption and move quickly to the newer technology is the most important thing that someone should follow. Other than that, I believe that other than the technical skills, there are things that are super, super important for a person working in AI. One of them is curiosity. People should ask a lot of questions to understand what is the problem that they are solving and what is the goal that they want to achieve. They need to have that storytelling. They need to talk to the data, understand the data, and being able to explain the data to other people too, maybe non-technical people. They have to know the business very well to know what is the goal that they are following. Otherwise, it's very easy to just continue doing something which might not help the goal that we are following, going with super advanced models, but not getting the result that we want at the end. Everything else, like bias for execution, is really important. In AI, we can generate a lot of insights, but we need to know how to translate those insights to real decisions and actions, so our customers are going to benefit from that too. So it should be a blend of analytics, data science, storytelling, being ready and flexible to adapt to the everyday change that's happening in this world.
Awesome. That's great advice. I'm sure we might have spurred some additional questions that I did not get to. If somebody does want to ask you a follow-up question, what is a good way of connecting with you?
For sure. It's my LinkedIn, I think is the best one. I check my LinkedIn every day. Again, I'm Afrouz Ansaripur, so my LinkedIn has the same name, and I check my messages regularly. So I'll be happy to be
Awesome.
in touch with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Appreciate your time, Afruz, and all the insights. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. Really enjoyed the conversation and have a great day.
Absolutely. All right. That's it for the episode. Be back again. Different guest, different topic. Until then, two things. One, obviously, we covered a lot of ground with customer data about having a lot of data, having to add more value with that data. And I think Afruz did a great job of talking to us about some of the challenges and opportunities that are in front of us. So share this episode with somebody else who might benefit from it. Also, like, subscribe, comment, let me know how the show is going for you. Until next time, thank you and goodbye.